we have a young man from Leggett CLC by the name of Tyler Payne. And Tyler is a 4th grade student at Leggett CLC. He is a model student who is consistently on the honor roll. He participates in gifted program. He has been a member of Leggett Leaders for 2 years. Tyler enjoys playing soccer, helping others, and being a kindergarten mentor. The staff of Tyler is very proud of him as a student. So Tyler, will you come and start and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, come over here, Tyler. We're going to have a camera here, and we are going to ask you, who do you have here with you tonight? Did you bring anyone?
I brought my mom.
Your mom? Is there someone else?
My principal, Mr. Vicente, and my counselor, Mr. Dinofrio.
Okay, great. Picture, so look at that guy right there. Blue shirt on. Should have the flag really. Thank you. Let Mom take a picture. Tyler wants to stay and listen to all the board business that is probably not a concern of his, but what we do is if you want to leave, you can go ahead and leave. I know you got homework, probably, and maybe some soccer, huh? Okay, so you can go ahead and leave, and thank you for coming and doing our pledge for us, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have community reflections. Mr. Otterman.
Yes, Saturday afternoon I was invited by Coach Powers to be on the sidelines and observe the St. Ed's Bocto game. And although they were beaten pretty soundly, they, as usual, West Bantams, West Peewees, and Bocto High School never give up, and they played it right to the end. They just got their quarterback hurt about the 3rd play of the game, and they were pretty limited in that respect offensively. So, but the kids did a good job compared to what they were up against. As we know, Lakewood St. Ed's one of the best teams in the state here after years. So.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll continue on in reverse order then. On the 16th, I did go to the Ella Kenmore football game, which was likewise the same thing. I was kind of the big guy against the underdog in terms of even the amount of players that the Kenmore team could field compared to it. But one of the things I wanted to point out that I thought was absolutely fabulous at this game was at halftime, they had the 8th graders from the higher band perform with the Ellett band out on the field. It added to bringing people into the stadium, but I thought it was a very good thing for the 8th grader students to be able to play. It was about 3 or 4 selections with the high school band, and I thought that was a good role model. Although there were some issues with the middle school kids not wanting to sit down and roaming around the track. We had to get that solved. but overall, I mean, it helped the attendance, and I think it was a very positive thing for the higher 8th graders to be out on the field with the band. On the 14th, I attended an OSBA seminar on diversity down in Columbus, which I found very enriching, enlightening for me, and more things I just need to learn and put into practice. And on the 13th, I went to a seminar on human trafficking put on by the Attorney General's Office of People. And so that's just a terrible problem going on in all the communities, but it's amazing how much it hits us here. So
We'll go down the line if we want.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the staff and students from APS that ran in the marathon. As usual, it was a fantastic day. I walked my neighborhood more than anything else and just could take in the sights and sounds of it, and just watching the students go by in their shirts that represented the schools, and some of the staff that did as well. It was a fantastic community event as always, and shout out to the people who volunteer and work so hard on that. I know we had a lot of staff doing that as well, so it was a great day.
Sean, you had something?
Yeah, just follow up on Ms. Walsh's comment. I know that they used to ref football, and I know they made some changes in the last few years about the running clock, try to eliminate that situation that was there. But still, and I have utmost respect for Coach Yost, and graduated from Ellis, but I don't see any reason ever to score 80-some points against a team, and it's another reason why there needs to be a combination of athletic programs in the city.
I have a picture to show. When you look at that.
Do you have anything? Councilman Walker?
Yes, I got a chance to participate in my first Akron Marathon, and going around the course of the half marathon and seeing various locations, all of our schools represented, from singing, from drums, from other activities. So it was real encouraging when we got to each spot, and was able to be encouraged by the schools that were being represented along the route. So I really appreciate all the, as Mrs. Mansfield said, all the staff, volunteers, and our students who participated.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
Nothing this week.
Nothing this week. Wow. Okay. Well, I did participate in a few things. First of all, I want to thank all of you for attending the joint board meeting with the city. I thought we had a good meeting. I'm glad everyone was able to show up and participate. I also participated in the Father's Walk. There was a Father's Walk at Glover Elementary School this year. Normally I'm at Helen Arnold, but I participated there this year. And I also participated in an event that was fun, but I thought it was encouraging too. It was called The Joy of Voting, and it was at Hardesty Park not yesterday, but last Sunday. And Felita Grice, who was here this evening, put it on. And what it was to teach kids about voting and to get out and vote. But what she did is she had someone bring out goats. And the goats were out there, and then they had pictures of the goats. And to help the kids understand about voting, they had to pick up a ballot, okay? They got a ballot just like we do. They had to go over, they had to look at these goats on the picture, okay? And then they had to vote for them. And then once they were done, they had to fold it up and they had to put it in the ballot box. And we had some kids there. I wish we had more kids there. It was a good event. The day was a really nice day there. But it was nice. And then at the end, they got a treat, some chips or something of that nature there for them at the end as well. But they also got a chance to go over and see the actual goats that were there. And one goat jumped out of the thing or whatever. I didn't know they jumped like that, but jumped out of the little Cajun area. But it was a nice event, and I hope that we have this next year. We'll get more kids to participate. Yes, Mr. Promo.
Just add something to that. There was a TED Talks, if you guys listened to the TED Talks, there was a TED Talk just posted by Eric Liu, and it's called Let's Make Voting Fun Again, and they talk about this Joy of Voting program, and they specifically mention a few cities, Akron being one of them, and they talk about some of the things, or he talks about in his TED Talk, some of the things that go on in Akron, including the one that Wondering Aesthetics does, and he actually reads the poem that was put together by 9 different Akron public school students about why they want to vote, or why they would like to vote. So it's a really interesting TED Talk if you get a chance. It's called Let's Make Voting Fun Again, and it's by Eric Liu, L-I-U. So just...
Is this still a mandatory thing to register, have our kids register to vote in their government classes? I mean, you're not voting in Democrat, Republican, I mean, you're just registering to vote.
We got several of them.
I don't know if we do the students.
Yeah, Anna Motter handles that. So typically at voting season, if, there are students who are 18 and registered, we were doing field trips to the Board of Elections, and they got on our case about that.
But
Who
but
got
they
it?
are turning them in.
Right.
We've had, I can't say which schools, but we've had numerous different high schools within the county where, because we have a special code, so I know how many have been coming in.
But I mean, some of them, you're 17, if you're, as long as you're 18 by the,
By November 8th.
I mean, so I would say 95% of the kids they're leaving our schools should be able to vote in that November election, and
It's not that high, it's not that high.
well, you're going to be 18 years old by the
But not by November 8th, no.
After you graduate?
You have after they graduate, yeah, but not for the ones that do it in school, you have a higher percentage of them that can vote in the spring primaries. Because at that point, you have a much higher number of them that are.
You can't vote in spring primary?
They can vote on candidates, they can't vote on issues. So they can register and vote as a 17-year-old in the primary.
Right.
Because for the candidate going on, and that's where we have a high percentage of the number of ones that'll be registering right now to vote are small, because those are only the ones that they would have to be 18 by the time they graduate.
Well, that's what I mean. I just found just throughout the years that there's not a lot of, I mean, some government classes are really vigilant on it, and teachers, and some, well, yeah.
Well, that's one thing that we as individuals, I mean, the schools, some schools may do some of that, some may not, but the same piece of all of us as board members need to get out and teach kids about voting and talk to them as well. Not just us, but other elected officials, adults, everyone needs to get out and talk to them about voting, because it is important no matter who they vote for, but they need to exercise their vote. So
We got them right there in the classroom. I mean, all you gotta do is, if they don't want to sign the slip and fill it out, they don't have to, but they could take it home with them. It could be made available. I guess what I'm saying is it should be made available to them if they want to fill it out and send it in. Fine, if they don't, no.
I think we can make that available.
But I would want to say 95% of those kids, and maybe you can't vote on the issues, just the candidates, but I don't know too many 17-year-olds in November that are running around graduated, but I just would like to see us make a better effort at it, and I'm sure we make an effort, and I'm sure the person that's in charge does a great job, but I think we can do a better job.
And as the superintendent was alluding to the fact that we did have a program, we had field trips, but we ran into some either logistics or some policy problems with the Board of Elections as to why our children could not do certain things that we felt would enhance their opportunities to vote. So I don't know if that ever was straightened out or not, but.
We need to
I don't know if it is, but I think
it.
if it was anything, it had probably more to do with everything being crammed into one building. So that
we need
is
to-
open for change now that we've got the second
I don't want
building.
to spend a whole lot of time on just this topic, but one thing we do is we need to get people, kids out to vote, as many as can.
Encourage it. Yeah,
if we
we're
can.
all for it.
Those who are of age, and anything that we can do possibly in the schools, then we should possibly do that. Okay, we don't have anybody to address the board. We don't have any communication or recognition. I need approval of meeting minutes from,
A second.
it's been moved to second. Any comments, questions? Roll call?
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mr. Otterman?
Yep.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Quick question.
Yes.
Do we have, I meant to ask this earlier, do we have meeting minutes for the special, the joint?
We will.
Okay. Superintendent's recommendation.
Mr. President, I have before me for your consideration 47 personnel recommendations and a supplement for the official certification of a list of Innovation Generation Scholarship recipients from the class of 2016. These recommendations are in proper form, and I move their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any question?
And I'm going to ask my question back from, which we think we thought we answered, but on the Innovation Generation,
Yes.
there are several that say 0 max already. Does
Right.
that mean that they
They
had
have-
enough? That's what we thought, but
Right.
we just want clarification. Thank you.
Correct.
Same question.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Mr. Irie?
Yes.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Wall?
Yes, but abstaining on 46 and 47?
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes, abstaining item 44.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, abstain 45.
Thank you.
All right, next, Mr. President, I have before me for your consideration 1 motion and 8 resolutions on the consent agenda. These recommendations are in proper form, and I move their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any question? No question. Roll call.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Wall?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Irie?
Yes.
And finally, Mr. President, I have before me for your consideration 13 business affairs recommendations. These recommendations are in proper form, and I move their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any question?
Just explanation on item 9. And item 10.
Okay, so in item 9, we have students that are assigned to the, that juvenile attention program, and I think Mr. Rambler might have some additional information on that one.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk before that. Yes, we have a number of our kids that are our students, but they are placed in, educated in detention centers that are not in Summit County, but we're fiscally responsible for their education. So since they're there and they're being educated, just as much as there are some kids that are being educated in JDC Summit County that we're educating, that we're billing other homeschools for.
Right.
It's the same.
And on item number 10, that one is to help us with our Affordable Care Act compliance, and I don't know if Mr. Wallace has any additional information on that, but I know it's a real complicated issue for us to navigate.
And I can answer it. CPIHR, I believe they're out of Solon. This is the second year that we've contracted with them to do our federal filings for Affordable Care Act. It's part of the consulting arrangement when we brought on Gallagher and now Oswald Corp. And the many requirements of Affordable Care Act that we have to submit in all the filings. They do that sampling for us. They do the filing and paperwork for us. This is the second year, so it's not an increase, just a renewal contract.
More of a comment than a question. On item 3 and item 4, I'd just like to point out and compare and contrast those 2 items. Item 3, we're buying textbooks for our students within Akron Public Schools. And item 4, we're buying college textbooks for students taking advantage of the college opportunities that we provide for them as well. And just like to point out, the cost per textbook's relatively the same, but if you look at the textbooks that we buy for our high school students, we get a 7-year shelf life out of those books. The textbooks that we're buying for college, we're probably lucky to get 2 years, if 1 year out of those textbooks. And my understanding, if Brian, you could tell me again how much we spent nothing 2 years ago, and what do we expect to spend this year on college textbooks?
3 years ago, we spent 0 on College Credit Plus books and related books. This year, we're going to spend over $400,000.
Okay. And I bring that up for 2 reasons. Number one, it's something that we are paying for that we haven't had to pay for in the past. And I just bring that up in the context of what the hard decisions that this board is looking at, trying to make with consolidation and trying to save money so we can continue to afford to pay for these kind of things for our students. A lot of people are getting lost in, their emotions and not really looking at what we're trying to do as far as bringing opportunities to our students in the classroom. My opinion only, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but just like to point that out.
Can I piggyback on that as well? The point of that too is we're mandated by the state to provide College Credit Plus, correct? But there's no additional money that comes in. We're mandated to provide those services. We're happy to provide those services. Those are going to excel our students in ways. Some of them are earning associate's degrees or well into college by the time. So it does benefit our constituents greatly, but it's not like it comes at no cost. And this is one of those costs. And the state has mandated it, but the state has not given us the money to pay for that.
This is just the textbooks, that's not
Right,
tuition.
this is just a piece of that larger puzzle, but absolutely, I think it's a very good point.
Mr. Oliver?
Do we have somebody that I guess I know it's not me, but the professional ability to monitor? I just know when I was in college, it seemed like, you got a book, a used book from a friend or whatever that took the class 2 years ago, and the difference was so minimal, but you were required by your professor to get that book, get $200, and it made no sense. And I don't know, do they make you buy those books, or is it up? You know what I mean? As long as they're not losing any ability to learn.
I can't answer about, excuse me, but I do think that now books and having a daughter that's in college, and not on wood, it should be done real soon here. But a lot of those books that they change more often now. And as Tim said, if we get 2 years out of them, we should be glad. But they're so expensive. I mean, they're really, really expensive.
I know Deb answered this question as well. She might have something to add.
Well, but there's one other part of this. It's sometimes not the physical book that is upgraded, it's the actual license to access the electronic part of the book. And what we have found out that many times you can certainly buy a new book and that allows you to have access to the electronic license. The book itself may not change, Mr. Otterman, but they will not at this time sell you access to the upgraded license. So we're in the process of looking to see if we can get that kind of access from the vendors that supply the books.
Right,
But we are truly at the mercy of the professor. So as an example, we recently had 100 statistics books that we planned on reusing, had issued them to the students, and the professor changed the edition. And although the addition to you and me may not be critical, it evidently is critical to the way they are teaching, and that upgrade had to go forward.
So the kickback scam continues.
Well, I'm hoping that's not the case, but we do get those books returned
It is.
to us at the end of the semester, and we
I'll
will
go
do
on
our
record.
effort to allow them to be reused by the next student.
Thank you, Mrs. Falk, appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Otterman?
Yes.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Superintendent report.
Last week, I had the opportunity to meet with the State Superintendent of Public Instruction with several other superintendents, and a big topic of discussion was actually the end-of-course exams, and a lot of our suburban districts around the state are very concerned about some of the scores that students will have to earn in order to graduate and receive a diploma. In addition, of course, to the state report card, a lot of complaints about, as Dr. McWilliams Wood said at the last meeting, not to steal your thunder, Reverend Walker, but comparing apples to oranges to bananas. So he listened, but I don't know there's much he can do about it because a lot of that is determined by the legislature. But there is a lot of conversations going on around the state, a lot of concern about moving to end-of-course exams that will really impact a lot of kids as they attempt to, get scores so they can graduate.
And that's it. Thank you. President's report. The only thing I have today is I wanted to pass this around. This card is from Mrs. Falk, and I continue to be here to support her, to encourage her, to pray for her from her loss of her husband. She is a vital part of this organization here at Akron Public Schools, and we need to be there to support her. So I wanted to encourage all of us to support her in any way we can, and make sure we continue to pray for Ms. Falk and her family. Okay.
Amen. Amen.
Treasurer's report.
2 quick items tonight. Past few months, I've told you about our interim report. We're back to our regular monthly reports, submitting our August reconciled books. So if you have any questions about that, we're just getting started with the fiscal year, so not a lot to report there. The other item in your board packet that you voted on tonight was the fiscal 17 full and permanent appropriations that we'll submit to the Summit County Budget Commission. We had a request at the next Finance Committee. We're going to start into probably more of a general fund item. So if there's part of that you don't understand or want more information, let Mr. Bravo and Mr. Miller know about that. We'll take a deeper dive in Finance Committee and report back to you, as well as we're going to discuss whether or not we're going to entertain the GFOA or the ASBO, the two professional organizations that govern national budgeting processes, about adopting one of their formal procedures, so that we can put a little bit more words around the numbers and tie them back to our district goals. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee reports. Legal.
Okay, we are presenting for the final reading, and we move to approve at the end, or do it now? I move to approve policy 3223, which is new, the standard-based school council evaluation.
Second.
We'll move to second. Any question? Roll call.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Otterman?
Yes.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Finance Committee. No report. Instruction, policy, and student achievement.
Yes, we have a report. The Instructional Policy Committee met last Friday, August 23rd, and discussed two important topics that we would like to share this evening. But first, our national consultants and trainers for the Ford Next Generation Learning were in our district last Wednesday through Friday to launch our formal master planning process. Over the 3 days, they worked with our superintendent and staff to host the second meeting of our steering committee, which is made up of 50 top business, university, civic leaders within our city, as well as key parents, students, teachers, and administrators, along with myself and Mr. Miller. And part of the activity, we were divided into 4 groups. I was in Group D, which dealt with a freshman who had finished his first year. And we were to look at what were the positive things that they could present to the business community. What did they learn? What could they encourage other students? And so we talked about things that student should know, which is soft skills. Get up on time. Go to school. Go to class. Don't depend on other persons to move you in a particular direction. Mr. Black was also part of that group as well. And so we talked about a number of other areas in that section as we looked at how can we prepare our students not only to graduate, but to be good candidates for jobs, to know themselves, know the company they're applying for, know their skills and also their weaknesses. And as Mr. Black mentioned, be able to say it's okay to fail, but how to regroup if we fail. Mr. Miller, if you want to add anything at this time?
No, I just thank everybody that showed up from the community to that. I hope people stay engaged in the conversation.
Mr. Black? Okay. And so we have the portrait of a graduate, and the other was the consultants, also co-presented with Rachel Cheka and Annie Hansen from Connexus, Neil, to 3 different focus groups. Parents and students from numerous middle and high schools. Every middle school and high school principal with 1 teacher rep from their school, and the 3rd are administrative council members from operations side of our district. For example, business affairs, child nutrition, custodians. At your place, you will find a handout of dates of the steering committee. And I hope you have those at your places. If not, we will make sure you get them. It should look like something like this. If you don't have one at your place, we'll make sure we get them. The next steering committee will be October the 10th, and will be in the afternoon from 3 to 5, and then November 30th from 3 to 5, and then January 11th, 2017 from 3 to 5. All of the board members are invited and encouraged to attend the master planning sessions to both contribute to the discussion as well as listen to feedback from our staff and community members. Finally, a team of staff and community leaders who serve on our steering committee are in Nashville today through Wednesday for a study visit similar to the one that Mr. Miller and I attended last spring. We'll continue to keep you updated on this critical work.
And then last, the sheet that I know is at your place, because I can see them because they're so big, is the school summary of the report card results that Dr. McWilliams-Woods told us she'd provide for tonight's meeting. She's in Nashville, but if you have any questions, feel free to email her and she'll get back to you as soon as she returns. So you can take a look at that on your own and ask Ellen any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any unfinished business? No unfinished business?
Yes. No. Excuse me, my fault, sir.
Okay. Well, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G4, I'd like to move that we go into executive session to review our bargaining session with employees concerning compensation and other terms and conditions of employment. Moved to second. Roll call.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Otterman?
No.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
And Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's take about
Mr.
5
President,
Yes.
are we going to have the opportunity to deal with some new business issues either when we come back out of
Well, we
executive session?
do have some new business here that the superintendent has to talk about, but if there's
Okay.
anything else we need to, we can probably address some things that we may need to.
All right, I mean, we already voted to go in executive session, so you can't deal with it.
Yeah, when we come back.
Come back.
Okay.